All right, Nick, let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a team that started out a little bit slow. And, I think this just goes to show how bad the Urban Meyer era is because Trevor Lawrence looks like that guy, Nick. He looks like a future franchise quarterback, potentially, that elite Mahomes level type of quarterback, the guy that can win you games on his own. He looks incredible. And once again, leads this team to another big victory over the Houston Texans. But Nick, before we get into just exactly how great Lawrence has been and all the statistics and things to back that up, we want to ask the Jaguars fans, you are pretty much a shoo-in at this point to make the playoffs. Once you get there, let us know in the comments below, who do you want to face in the playoffs? I'm really curious to see. That 2017 playoff run seems a little far off from now, but now you're back to the big dance. Trevor Lawrence has brought you there. It's got to be exciting. So let us know who you want to face in the playoffs. And while you're there, just leave us a subscribe. It really helps us out. And you can see the content as it comes back up. But Nick, what do you have on the Jaguars and specifically Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, so obviously you and I, and basically the whole NFL world right now is talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars in the playoffs, right? Obviously, they have to handle business against the Titans. There's a few other scenarios, but it looks really good for one reason and one reason only. It's because they're great at the quarterback position, and that's with Trevor Lawrence emerging. And it's one of the stories the second half of the season. There's a piece over at The Ringer talking specifically about teams nobody wants to face in the playoffs if these gets in. And the Ringer specifically highlights the Jacksonville Jaguars for just the reason of the fact that Trevor Lawrence is the QB who's made the second year leap. And I'm going to read exactly a little bit from the piece here, Mize. And then we've got actually, before I read the piece, Mize, we got a graphic of Lawrence's stats. Let's throw that up. That's from the 33rd team, if you can. You can see how good Lawrence has been statistically compared against the top, what I would say is the other top three quarterbacks, top four overall
Easy.
quarterbacks in the AFC. And you look at it, like completion percentage over the last 7 games, better than Burrow, Allen, and Mahomes. Passer rating better than those guys. Yards right at the same level. Touchdowns right at the same level. Only one turnover. So this guy's been absolutely unbelievable. And it's not like he's playing cream puffs, right? He beat Dallas, come back against Dallas. He beat the Ravens, right? Two playoff teams, two really nice teams. He obviously dominated the Titans a few weeks ago as well. The team's right in the thick of it for the playoffs. So this is a guy who's played tough competition and done an extremely good job with it, but being very productive. But a little bit from the piece here is like, this is the sentence here I'm going to highlight here, or at least this phrase here. It says from the Ringer, quote, an elite quarterback can hide a lot of weaknesses. And while I'm not ready to start throwing the E word around in regard to Trevor Lawrence, he's been producing like this season, like the other guys who have earned the distinction. And again, Miles, that's exactly what we're starting to see with Lawrence. Is coming into the season, there were question marks of how good is he? He had a very rough year under Urban Meyer. Was it Urban Meyer? Was it potentially not as good as we had been advertised? But it's clear now that he is just as good, if not better. The writer here doesn't want to call Lawrence elite. I think he's already there. His performance is outstanding. His physical tools were already there. And now that he has a competent play caller and coach in Doug Peterson, to me, the Jaguars are a scary threat that nobody wants to play. What are your thoughts on Jacksonville making a playoff run this year?
Yeah, Nick, what a lot of people need to understand is that Lawrence, not only is he kind of just redoing the rookie season in a sense, due to the Urban Meyer era, but he is also getting rejoined with a new offensive head coach, a new offensive scheme. So, Nick, after the bye, week 11, the Jaguars have reeled off 5 out of their last 6 victories. So this is about the time you would see things clicking in a new scheme. It's almost like you remember when Brady went to the Bucks. They really kind of started out slow, but at the end of the season, it takes a minute for these things to kick in. And now you see the Doug Peterson, offensively minded head coach effect with a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, who has all the physical tools, all the talent, all the pedigree of an elite level guy. That combo is killer, Nick, and that allows you to win 5 out of your last 6 games and really put up some impressive amount of points in that stretch. They put up 28 against the Ravens, a good defense. They put 36 up against the Titans, another pretty decent defense. 40 against Dallas, 31 against the Texans. They've put up some big numbers, and this team is looking playoff ready, Nick. So I just think what you said over the last 7 games or so, Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars have been incredibly impressive.
Yeah, and one thing I want to leave you here, why I think and why a lot of people think, that's why I was brought up in the Ringer of why Jacksonville is absolutely deadly, because I think the comparisons between Trevor Lawrence this year and Joe Burrow last year are really apt because you brought up the performance after the bye. I went back and looked at the 21 Cincinnati Bengals, and after the bye week, the Cincinnati Bengals won 5 of 7 to put themselves to 10 wins to get in the playoffs and, of course, win the division in the AFC North. That's the exact, or at least very similar track that Jacksonville Jaguars are on right now. Again, we saw it last year with Joe Burrow developing, picking up his game, becoming the elite guy that he is. We see that right now with Trevor Lawrence. And right now, the rest of the AFC should be absolutely terrified of playing a hot Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. With the way he's been performing offensively, the way he's leading this team, the way he's taking care of the football, they could honestly beat anybody on any day. And they're just looking like really good right now. And a lot of credit to Lawrence and Peterson for both of them for the job they've done down in Jacksonville.